Welcome to Planet Zoo. New game on the channel. This is sort of like a Zoo Tycoon game, or at least the successor to Zoo Tycoon games of yesteryear, and I've created my little avatar over England, of course. Where else would I put it? And why don't we get started and see what it's actually like. Yeah, so if you've actually got this, feel free to put comments below on how good it is or how bad it is. We'll see as we get going. We need to start a stately homeschooling. Okay, Goodwin House. It's a tutorial level. Let's get started. And renovated and renamed after its purchase by Bernard Goodwin in the 1980s. Da-da-da-da-da. It's a zoo. Da-da-da-da-da. Start new. And here's our introduction.
Heyo at Hematu. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be, too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals? We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Okay, wonderful. So we can get started. It'll be the usual set of controls. We can drag with right mouse button, and presumably we can rotate with middle mouse button. Yeah, we can use QWER. That's more than happy. Can we actually get to this? Where are we going to get to? There. There we go.
That grizzly bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year. Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too. Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel.
Zachary.
This is where you can find out
Zachary the grizzly bear.
Information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel?
And there we go. We can go and take a look at our
This is a fantastic
at Zachary.
a close look at your animals. You can also
Seems
get
pretty
this
happy.
view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it.
Fine,
Okay,
and
when
how
you're
about
ready,
lions
let's
then?
hop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
And they're over here. Wonderful lions. Yep.
Panthera leo, or the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride, although prides of that size are pretty rare. As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome, which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to an empty habitat and see what needs doing there.
Empty habitat. Okay, so there is a place for us to put anything, presumably.
As you can see, it's a lovely space for animals, but it's missing a certain something.
The animals?
2 somethings. Warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section.
Okay, animal trading.
There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Adopt from the side menu. Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants.
That's perfectly fine. And I guess we can
When you
get
adopt an
here.
animal,
Yeah,
it's
can we just place
automatically
them?
placed in the trade center, where they're held until you're ready
Can I
to
drag
move
them
into
or?
their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
Okay, delivery scheduled. And sent to zoo.
When you ask for an
Delivery
animal to
scheduled.
be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade center, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade center's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
I don't see a marker. Oh, there it is. Yep. Zoom all the way in.
As you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible.
Not
Of
sure
course,
you want
normally
to
you'd
transport
have
a
to place the
warthog
animals
in a
into
box like
quarantine
that.
before moving them into a habitat.
Unless they're
But
really
I am
small.
assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
Looks like they really need toys.
Let's start by
Really
making
need
sure we're
toys.
taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station. And for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
Okay, food trough. I was expecting like a long trough like you would give cows, but no, apparently that's just fine as it is. And we can put that anywhere, I suppose. This is where they're going to bed down, so maybe we just put it outside. There we go. And presumably water as well. We're going to ask for water, so we may as well, I don't know, put that right next door. Can we put that next? We can't get them right next to there. Okay,
Animals
let's
also
put you there.
require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
She's really overdoing the Welsh. If you're not sure what a Welsh accent is, that's a Welsh accent. A little bit over the top. A mud bath. Well, I guess they'd like that anywhere, really, so let's just put that right here.
Oh, nice work. You've got a knack for this, I see. Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a fair old state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
Are you going to finish? Are you going to feed them? Looks like you are going to feed them. They're going to be happy. They're not doing anything, though. They do have enrichment. Okay, let's go and take a look at something else while they decide whether they're happy or not. What's over in this habitat?
Oh, before we actually start building our ostrich habitat, let's pause the game. Just click the pause button in the bottom right corner.
Is pause... Oh, that's not hooked to space. That's
more
just
like
P.
it. A
Okay.
quick break. Sometimes it's a good idea to pause the game whilst you're doing something which requires your concentration, because it'll stop the zoo spinning out of control while you're looking the other way. Let's keep the game paused while we get this ostrich habitat built. Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Okay, so it has to be hooked up to the path. There we go.
Let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
That wasn't what I exactly wanted. Just, it looks like we're just going to be able to just drag, maybe? Ah, no, click and then just, yeah, hold your mouse and you should be able to just click and move it around. Yeah. Each section is 2 meters long for some reason.
Good work.
There we go.
Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier, so the guests can see in.
Okay, so maybe along this line where there's lots of straight sections. Let's just go for glass. I was expecting that to just swap over. That's not actually doing anything. Gotta be said.
Windows gives guests even more opportunities.
I just didn't read the instructions. Click on a barrier, then click on the glass. Looks fine.
View into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't. The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point.
Yeah.
Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
Don't know which way the guests are going to be coming, however, but why don't we just put this, I don't know, right here?
Now, before we adopt our ostriches, you should click the play button. After all, if the game's paused, then so are our caretakers, which will make it a bit tricky for them to deliver the ostriches, eh? By the way, as well as pausing the game, you can speed the game up by clicking on the fast forward button. It'll run everything at 2 times and 5 times faster. It can be useful, especially if you're waiting for money to accumulate or for animals to be delivered to your habitat. Personally, I use it when I'm waiting for a brew to finish. All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think? Let's get 4 of them in here.
Okay. And let's just do the same thing, basically, to deliver them all into this one habitat.
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
Okay, doesn't say what kind of station they need. However, I guess we only have one choice for water troughs, so I guess we'll just put that near there, and hopefully the guests will help. And then a food bowl large and a slow feeder. Let's just see. Ostrich can have either one, so yeah, let's just go for a slow feeder. Let's just leave it as 1 for now. I've added a food station. Let me just add another one of these food bowls as well. There we go.
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals. You'll need to rotate the keeper hut to get it to connect up to the path.
Okay, rotate is wonderfully not easy. It is Z and left and right. Okay, so Z. Okay, and there we go. So that I would much prefer to be something with the mouse scroll wheel, like shift mouse scroll wheel, Z mouse scroll wheel. No, looks like we are only doing Z left and right. Okay, fine. I guess that's connected, and you can go away.
This keeper hut only has space for one keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness negatively. In case that wasn't clear. Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power. And that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we? Now, the reason everything has gone blue is because you're using the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off. Lovely work. Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then. Bengal tigers. We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away.
Okay.
Righty, your next job is to build a habitat from scratch. And concrete and glass, I expect. So go ahead and build it. Just make sure that the habitat includes that big hole we've dug. Oh, and don't forget to add a habitat gate to the barrier.
So we're going to build this ourselves now. It's handed over full control finally, and I think we're just going to go for, again, sections along here. And we'll keep them at 2 meters long. You can make them shorter, but this just means I can just replace one entire section with some glass immediately. I guess I'm going to have to maybe change that there. Yes, that needs to be changed. Let me just reconfigure that. Just let me change the length here. Yeah. Okay, and then that will nicely attach to the corners. And we can just go and continue going down like that and just bring this back up. I assume there is some way of actually just getting this configured with the mouse, but I need to actually go and investigate that a little bit more later. Are you done? Yeah, pretty much. And then we'll do some more sections down the back. Shorten it a little bit. Okay, that's the complete habitat, and then we're just going to basically put a gate in there. May want to put like the facilities out here somewhere, maybe. So for now, I'm just going to put it here.
Now,
okay.
Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier. Okay then. You should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode. Great. Now highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool.
Clicking and dragging? Can I just drag it all the way around? I can. That's kind of handy.
Now all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a height of at least 3.7 meters.
3.75?
Is in place. Don't forget to put down a donation box near to your viewing areas. We need every dollar we can get. Especially as these tigers aren't exactly eating instant noodles for lunch.
Can't replace that with glass, unfortunately, but look, man, never mind. We're getting a donation box right next door to where our... well, can we put it next door? It won't let me put it anywhere. Maybe I've used up all the available space for this thing. I definitely want it here. Come on. for some reason, it'll only let me place it right here.
That's the habitat
So I
boundary
wonder
complete.
if I can
The
just replace
habitat
the...
gets in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of
Yes.
it anymore.
How about
think
I
it's
just change the
time we
barriers,
adopted
though?
those tigers.
Can I change this barrier back? Looks like it won't let me. Ah, it's in full tutorial mode. I probably want to replace this section with glass then, if the donation box has to go there. Anyway, adopt and place 2 new Bengal tigers. I guess we'll go and buy those. So, wow, they're quite expensive. Or at least by comparison to the pigs. But hey, I'm sure that's entirely normal. They're probably worth a lot more than that in real life, but let's not go there.
Whilst our trusty caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll start with the basics. Add a suitable feeding station for them.
Okay, feeding station, habitat, so feeding station, food tray large. Well, yes, you'd imagine they need a large food tray. Why don't we put it down here, because everyone wants to watch them.
This time, instead of adding a water bowl, let's try something different. Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water. You should do that by going into terrain and selecting the water tool.
Okay, water tool, terrain, calm water or rough water. Well, calm water, yeah, that's going to be fine, valid.
Yes, that'll do nicely. Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat?
I think they're going to need more water than that, though. Just to be clear, that's not a great amount for those poor tigers to swim around in. That's saying all obstructed. Maybe it's in full tutorial mode as well. Normally we'd be able to add more water, clearly. And, yeah, that's fine. Create a space. How to position the wall of the space the water is to be filled to. Okay, so I clicked right in the bottom, so... yeah, can I just remove it? I can, and how about I refill it to somewhere else? Obstructed because the tiger stood there. Fine, move. Move, tiger. Fine. Let's get rid of the help for a second. We'll come back to them in a minute. And let's get to the next step. So we need food enrichment, so I guess there's a bunch of different options here. We can have a frozen blood pumpkin or a rubbing pad. Well, probably both, I guess, at that point. So let's just rotate that around a little bit so that the visitors can see it. And maybe have a frozen blood pumpkin there as well.
Really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers
Terrain.
will need
Can we actually put the
shelter in
water
their
back in?
habitat, so they
We
can
can.
hide from the guests.
There we go.
More likely the bad weather. Although, given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather.
I agree entirely.
Go
That's
on, add a
just
shelter to
just
their
normal.
habitat. You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
Shelters. Well, let's just use the blueprint, shall we? Yeah, be a nice place for them to shelter. And again, I want the visitors to be able to see them in said shelter. So why don't we just put that down here? Yeah, it's gonna be pretty good.
Poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat. Select a tiger and bring up its information panel. Rightio, click on the terrain tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of terrain. That'll tell you what the tigers need more of or less of in this habitat. Okay then, open the terrain editing tool, select painting, and give them some more soil. Yes, that should help with the habitat part of their welfare.
Okay, so basically you're looking for things that are to the right of the line. Needs less grass, more short grass, but more soil. So let's see if we can find some kind of soil. And I don't know, maybe place that around here. Okay, and maybe we'll just have that here. And we can just paint it on. Okay, they seem to be happy with that amount of soil. Correct amount. Less grass long and more grass short. So let's just replace those. And can I actually remove this with right click? It looks like I can't, so I'm going to have to replace one with the other, I guess.
Right then.
There we
All
go.
animals need plants and trees from their own biome or continent. You know, deserts, savannas, Eurasia, Europe, that sort of thing. It looks like these tigers need a few more plants in their habitat. To get a perfect fit, use plants from the rainforest and temperate biomes that are native to Asia. Although if you have to, you can get away with using just one or the other. The tigers will also want a certain amount of their habitat to be covered by those plants. To find out which plants to use and how many, select a tiger and go to the Environment tab.
Okay, so
Now,
continent
as you
Asia.
can see, some of the plants currently in the habitat aren't quite right for the tiger, like the wattle bushes. You can remove them if you want.
Tropical, so
You can
biome.
find all of the plants you need in the
Tropical.
nature section, and you can use the filters to only show the types of plants you want to see. In this case, that's plants from the rainforest or temperate biomes.
Well, it technically says grassland too, but okay, I'll just remove that. And it says it's happy with any of these things. So what can we actually do? Hawthorn bushes, Bengal bamboo. Well, I guess given that they are Bengal tigers, maybe we'll just put in some bamboo. There they go. And it looks like we can get rid of the wattle bushes. So which ones are wattle bushes? That's bracken. That's hookthorn. Where is the wattle bushes? Ah, there they are. Okay. Can we just remove them? Can we just remove them with right click? No, delete. Yep. Okay, they should be happier without those. And maybe just put in a few more of the other bushes. Bracken, hookthorn. How are our tigers now? Are they happier? Environment, hookthorn, acacia tree. It does not like the hookthorn acacia tree. Okay, you should be happier now. Okay, so you need some more coverage. Requires more plant and tree coverage. Fine. So let's just get some more ferns around the place. Yep. And I need quite a bit more. And by removing some of the existing stuff, you can see we're getting a lot closer now. We're getting to 88% and hopefully to 91.
They say that good fences make good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave, even if you did poke a hole in their fence. Oh, but for heaven's sake, don't test that theory.
Right, let's head over to the Indian peafowls. I've been told that we need to improve their social welfare.
Okay, select highlighted area. There they are. They're going to be in a maze. Okay, peafowls, of course, being like peacocks.
And select them to open their information panel. Then
Which is, of course, the male.
At how they're doing. Although technically, I suppose gandering would just be for geese.
Okay, adopt and place 3 peafowls. I guess we don't have any available? Question mark?
Click on the social tab at the top of their information panel to see what's wrong. Right, as you can see, the peafowls need their population to be larger. To solve this little problem, you'll need to adopt 3 more female peafowls. Off you pop to the animal market then.
So there we go. Then I just basically selected one of them and then this whole thing came up. So we should be able to buy them now. Yep, we can. Okay, and we'll get them actually sent in. I wish I could actually just do that all in one, but I guess I have to click through them. Fine. And third one.
Good work on those peafowls. I expect they'll be delivered soon. But sadly, it sounds like our snow leopard is a bit grumpy. Let's head over there and see what's wrong with her.
Where's the snow leopard? Well, yes, snow leopard is not in a mountain. And how is that even snow?
Animals can suffer from stress if things aren't quite right. You know, like when you see someone put in the milk before the tea bag.
Yes, that's wrong. That would be utterly wrong.
Stressed by their lack of privacy. You can lower their stress levels by swapping out the normal glass barrier by their cave for one-way glass. It's not a cheap option, but I think they're worth the expense, don't you? This will give the snow leopards somewhere to go when they want to get away from the prying eyes of the guests.
Okay, let's change the barriers out. Barriers, one-way glass. I have to select it first, then one-way glass.
Of course, when an animal isn't in its natural biome, it's probably going to be too hot or too cold. Unsurprisingly for the snow leopards, it's too hot. Even with the terrible British weather. You should help cool it down by adding some coolers to their habitat. But let's start by opening up the temperature heat map and having a look-see at the temperature in the leopard's habitat.
Okay. Temperature heat map down here. Heat maps. Temperature.
As you can see, we already have one cooler in there. Let's pop some more down and get as much of the habitat as chilly as we can. Luckily for us, this habitat already has power, but you'll need to make sure of that in the future. Just so you know, if any part of a habitat is powered, then the whole habitat will be powered.
Okay, coolers. Apparently they are magic coolers that just cool from nothing. Fine. Let's just cool that area, and then maybe this area, and then over here as well.
You can find heat maps for all sorts of helpful things, so do be sure to explore them and make good use of them.
Okay.
It'll take a little while for the temperature to adjust once you've added coolers or heaters, but now we've got the coolers in, we can address the leopard's terrain welfare. You see, what the leopards really want in here is snow and rock, so let's make that happen.
Told you, didn't I? Fine. I guess we're going to have rock. Snow, rock, yeah, as long as it's actually cold enough. Can I just get rid of this heat map now? It's hard to actually see and put in more snow. We can just paint in snow, apparently. It's perfectly fine in this sunlight for us just to paint in snow, and the coolers will just keep it there. Apparently that's how magic works. So, yeah, let's actually just do that.
All of that should give you a pretty good understanding of how to make animals happy. So I'd like you to go and check on all the other animals in the zoo and fix up any issues with their habitats. That'll increase the average welfare of the animals across the whole zoo. And that average welfare is a very important statistic. Now, to quickly see how all your animals are doing in the zoo, you should go into zoo management and then into the animals section. As you can see, this list shows you the animal's overall welfare. So if something's amiss, then you can quickly pop over to them using the locate button. Right, I'm off for a cuppa while you make sure all the animals are well looked after.
Definitely overdoing that Welsh accent. Okay, so we got to fix tortoises. I guess we got to go move ourselves to... Oh, hang on, that's moving the tortoise. No, I actually just want to go and find them. Where's my locate button? Give contraceptives to the tortoise. No, that's fine. There we go. They should be selected. Fine. What do they actually need? Welfare, enrichment. They need something to play with, clearly. And they're tortoises, so what on earth are we going to give them to actually play with? Enrichment items. Yeah, perhaps a lot of things. So now it's fully out of its tutorial mode, so you are going to need to set up your filters yourself to decide what to place. That, for example, that ball, not so good. This kind of ball and this sort of scent marker enrichment is perfectly fine. And we'll just put down an ice ball as well. And maybe one of these sprinklers. Yeah, put it down over here. And maybe another one of these scent markers. Okay, so there should be more enrichment now. They're at 50%. That's only partially covering the animal's needs. Let's go and take a look through anything else. Coverage is fine. Enrichment is sort of fine. We can have a look in here. Small ball. Yeah, all those are working. I probably just need to place more of them. And there, our tortoises are perfectly happy. I've given them a few shelters, some extra toys, some more got long grass, and some more sand, and that is them actually sorted as far as that's concerned. We can take a look at the welfare here. That leaves us probably one other category, that being zebra, and a couple of giraffes. Okay, so there is two different things. Let's go and take a look at the zebra, what they actually need. Well, they are deciding to just camp out in this cave and sleep. Fine. What do they need? They need enrichment, they need a better habitat, and there's some other bits and pieces. So let's take a look at the habitat first of all, or the environment. The, well, inappropriate stuff for the animal. So let's just get that, remove that. There's just a shortcut to remove the plant species that we don't want. And they're much happier, we're happier with that. Enrichment, we need to sort out. Social, they're happy with. Genetics, we don't need to worry about. And that just means the terrain setup is inappropriate. So yeah, they want more grass, more long grass, and much less soil. So if we just replace one with the rest, that should do that job. So let's just get lots of long grass around here, paint that all in. Hopefully they will be happy with said long grass, or is that short grass? It's long and short as well. This may take a while if I need to cover the whole thing. I may have to re-change the intensity. There we go. Set the intensity to 100% and the size as well. Let's just get that going. Okay, are you going to like that? Seems like you're getting there. There we go. That's in green now, and then we just get grass short over here as well. That should be in green shortly. They have really large enclosure, and that's all fine for them. So they are all hopefully now in green. Overview. Oh, and just some enrichment. So let's go back across to the habitat, go across to enrichment items, toys, etc. Let's get rid of the tortoise filter. And we want species, don't we? So we want plains zebra or zebra, depending where you're from. Plains zebra. What options have we got for them? They'll be happy with the grab ball, I guess. Yep. And their enrichment's already at 45%. And another one of those scent markers, and another rubbing pillar maybe. Get them happier for that. Nothing climbable, as you might imagine, for a giraffe, but that's some food.
At all. I think it's fair to say that you've passed the first part of your training with flying colours. There's still lots more to learn, but we'll have to head to another one of Bernie's zoos for that. If you want to grab your passport, we'll head off, shall we?
Okay, at this point we should be able to leave, I would imagine.
Sounds like you've got the whole zoo purring away nicely. Well, purring, grunting, screaming, booming. All the appropriate noises. I guess I was right to hire you, huh? Don't tell her I told you, but Nancy wasn't sure you'd even last the morning. So, we're happy this is working out. And Nancy owes me a foxy coffee. As strange as it seems, considering we just met, when I look at you, I feel like you're the child I never had. After the one I did have, obviously. But you see, zookeeping's not for my daughter. Don't get me wrong. Emma absolutely loves animals, but she set her sights somewhat higher. Wants to save the entire planet. I'll just settle for saving a couple of species. And maybe having a type of frog named after me.
Okay, so I guess we're going to be able to move on to another zoo. We are pretty much done, so let's head off, shall we, to save that. New zoo save, Goodwin House. And let's head back to the main menu. And yeah, there are two more scenarios that you unlocked. As soon as you got bronze, I think they unlocked, which is the Madagascar Simian Conservation Project and Maple Leaf Wildlife Park. But we'll have to leave those to another episode if indeed you guys want to see more of this. If you don't, let me know in the comments, but if you do, give it a thumbs up and we'll see where we go from here, whether we decide to do any more episodes on Planet Zoo. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. Well, we'll be getting back to, I think it's going to be C Block tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, hopefully you'll join me for that. And thank you as always for watching.